if a lot of one people don't do anything, then nothing's going to change anyway, right?
Right.
So the only thing we can do is be responsible for the inside. In the stories, this is very important. And I look at it culturally like we look at ourselves as the center of our circle, right? We are the center of our circle. We always are, right? We have needs. We got to go eat. We got to go to sleep. We take care of ourselves. We make our minds up like, no, I can't stay up until 3 o'clock in the morning anymore. I got to go to bed at 7. So, whatever. Or I got something to do tomorrow. I got to go to bed at 10. So we're responsible for ourselves. But then we have a circle around us. And those are our friends, like our really good friends, our family. We'll tell anything. They know us inside and out. We can't lie to them. They know, they can read us. And they're always going to be there no matter what. We can fight with them. We might ignore them for a month, but they're always going to be within our circle. They're very important people. We have another circle outside there. They're our friends, more our acquaintances, like people we hang out with, people we do stuff with, but not somebody who we can see ourselves hanging around all our lives. Then we have another circle. It's just like, yo, those kind of people. And then, so the circle keeps. So basically what we need to do is we need to realize that change within ourselves might spark some change within our inner circle. We always need to start from within.
Episode of The Drop and the Ripple with Nell Hood and me, Julia Dunn. What you've just heard is a quote from John Bear Mitchell, a Penobscot historian and storyteller who took time to sit down with us and discuss narratives of climate change within and without the Penobscot community. John really set the tone for our podcast in that he explains our personal responsibility to enact change within ourselves before we can turn the big and so totally overwhelming tide of climate change. We are a drop in the ocean in a drop, and we're here to see what waves we can make. Before we get to hear from the generous and radically wise Ronnie Kamphausen, an 82-year-old champion swimmer and intertidal expert from Phippsburg, Maine, I feel compelled to share a snapshot or two of what happened to our band of windswept youths this week between interviews. On Monday, our caravan of 12 Bates College students rocked up to Bates Shortridge House on Popham Road. I doubt I can do justice to this place, but what I will say is that it is infused with magic. It holds the ghosts of games in its doorways, and it stuffs human communion between thin mattresses. On Monday, all of us were pretty typical Bateses, in the way we feared eroding coastlines and loved to explore forests between swimming and slacklining. We were united by our fascination with nature and our fairly scattered desire to save. Throughout the week, we stitched ourselves together with the stories of some of the most knowledgeable and loving people I have ever met. From lobster fishermen to porcupines, we learned to remember new old feelings like sunburn and how to listen. During my downtime, I grappled with wanting nature to love me back. I've always seen myself as an ocean child, named after the Beatles song, and for 4 years I've been sporadically traveling to Phippsburg to heal. I take comfort in the marsh and the fact that nature marches along in checks and balances. After this past winter, though, I've disconnected. Unsure of if love is there for me. Not down to let go of any individuality. I'm as childish as they get, and so I like to wander between trees trying to read validation in the veins of leaves. On Thursday, I was in the deepest funk. No matter what I did, I couldn't feel comfortable. Instead, I felt determined to feel abandoned. I angrily kicked off the trail, spinning and lost, and right there, in a huge protective oak tree, was the most comfortable creature I'd ever seen. A napping porcupine. I sat under him for a while, and he didn't seem bothered with my overwhelming uncertainty. At first, I did not process what a great gift this was, but later that afternoon, as I picked my way over driftwood to a floating safe dock in Sea Cove, I realized his ripple effect. For the first time, I saw myself as a drop responsible for and capable of generating love. With that continual struggle in mind, let's turn our attention to someone who has dedicated her life to a love for, not from nature, and community engagement. Please welcome, to the Drop and the Ripple, Ronnie Kamphausen.
Everything you need is right in front of you, when you learn to see. good things come to you. All you have to do is stop and take a look around.
I think, it probably is part of my childhood being here and, like making a life of blueberrying. That's another thing. Remind me to tell you about Morse's Mountain. But we would go blueberrying and hiking and sailing and rowing and all these types of things. And when I studied in college, it was biology,
Right.
and a lot of botany and stuff, but no marine biology. In college, I was a biology major, and now I consider myself not so much a biologist, but a naturalist, because I'm interested in everything.
Yeah.
But I have seen changes over the years. We are now finding white-sided dolphins, and that may be because of the warmer water.
Right.
And whales have washed in on the rocks.
Oh, okay. Wow.
In fact, I have a whole bony structure that hasn't been put together of the dolphin and a lot of whale bones. Maybe when you noticed them when you came in, and I collect bones.
Cool.
Ticks, that's another
Yes,
thing.
we
Ticks
talked
are
about that.
really a big issue now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they are.
This winter especially, like
Right.
someone who's in our class, he's been outside a lot apparently, and he's saying that this is the worst tick season he's seen
Well,
so far.
The first day, so Monday, he had 10 ticks on him. Just this one boy.
You have to check yourself all the time.
Yeah.
And the other day, I stopped to take a walk, and I had on black pants.
Oh no.
And I thought, I wonder if this is a good idea, but I came home and took them off. And
Mm-hmm.
it's nice to have somebody to check yourself. My husband died about 5 years ago, but I live primarily by myself. But it's hard to see them.
Yeah.
They like to hide behind your ears, in your hair.
Well, I know. And
Behind your
last year I
legs.
got one kind of right up in here. I'm gonna get that out.
Oh no.
So anyway, but ticks and the brown-tailed moths, are a concern. But the mosquitoes are still here. But do they have the Zika virus?
Hopefully not.
Years ago, and since you don't live here, you won't take this personally. But years ago, we could walk anywhere along the shore. Now you can't.
Right.
And in Phippsburg, there's only one town-owned beach, Topman Cove. You should go there.
Yeah, we've heard good things about that.
Oh yeah, at low tide, because that is a great nursery for moon snails and lots of other different things. But again, you see, those outer areas are privately owned.
Yeah.
You see all the no trespassing signs,
Totally.
no parking. And so it makes me mad.
I would be too.
But I have made friends with the owner of Baldhead property that kind of reaches out to Small Point, and she always says, go ahead, because I tell her what I see.
Right, that's great.
And she just sent me a picture of 2 spotted turtles, which are endangered. And I couldn't
Did you
thank
see
her.
those right off the coast?
Her family has owned this property, and she is able to handle it financially because their house is to rent. And her son lives locally. She's not up here. She's in Connecticut in the winter, but she just owns all this beautiful property, and there are trails through the woods. Yeah, well, part of the problem, you see, Laura Sewell. Well, she's a part of the Small Point Association that has worked to preserve seawall.
Totally, yeah.
And make it available even if you have to go over the mountain. But the Small Point Association is very protective of that shoreline. And you have to be a member
Right.
to access seawall over the river on this west side.
Yeah.
I'm even a member of the club that is right there on the shoreline. And because of parking problems, I can't go down to the beach.
Man, that's no good.
I try not to get too angry because I think of all the things I can do and should be doing.
Yeah, well, here's a good question for that then, because we have sort of how does your interest in the ocean and the rocky intertidal zone influence your interactions with other people?
I take people on shoreline sea hunt type activity. I'm a low tide person, and I also like to snorkel. And there are a couple of wonderful little pocket beaches, and I mainly walk out to these little indentations and turn over a rock with my foot, and a little baby lobster comes out.
Wow.
I mean, I've seen lobsters this big.
Whew.
They're green and they swim on the surface. Have you seen them? Gosh, things come to my mind and then slip by so fast. But there are talks in the elementary school. We just have an elementary school on sea life, and they're trying to get an aquarium, saltwater aquarium. They've had one in the past, but it's kind of hard to monitor, the
Super hard,
chemistry and everything. But there are some lobstermen who will bring in all their non-lobster catches. And as a matter of fact, one of them had found a seahorse.
Wow.
I don't think he brought it in. I think it was during the summer. But, the fact that he let it go, shows he's responsible. But, they find very interesting things other than lobsters.
Yeah.
And when you snorkel, you can't keep your lobster if you find one that is of the right size. My most interesting snorkeling experience with lobsters, I was just going along the shoreline and in a populated area, and I saw these claws, out like this, and I thought, oh my gosh, and I got a little closer, and I realized it was blue. And my brother was nearby, and I said, and I had just a little net. I usually carry a little flimsy net. And he went and got me a heavier net, and I brought it out. It was a 10-pound blue lobsters with eggs.
Wow.
It was a female. But it was right, where people are doing swimming, kayaking, and everything. So you never know what you're going to find. But I do get the impression that lobsters, will not go after you.
Right.
They usually shoot back, but still, and another time I saw this big one looking like this, and I better get out of here. But anyway, I'm just wondering the other things. Yeah, and you're probably talking to somebody about the water testing that's being done. That is, I'm on the Conservation Commission, but I haven't been doing the water testing, but they're trying to determine if there are changes, in the pH and if there's coliform or anything else that might affect the clams primarily.
Right.
But, another thing, I like wildflowers, and it's too early for wood lilies, but we used to have wood lilies, those beautiful orange lilies. I used to call them Maine lilies, but they're really called wood lilies. And we used to have them on Hermit Island, and people would pick them, put them in a vase on their table, and now they're none. I think that was something else I wanted to mention about Morse's Mountain, because when you walk up there, you will see quite a few, at least on your way up. I know they're patches, but you see, I was here in the 40s, and Morse Mountain was taken over by the Army, and they had a tower up there to look out and see if there were submarines or enemy vessels coming in. And you can still go up there, and on the west side down there, there's like a little sandbag created place for them to hide, you know,
wow.
and protect it.
Cool.
And when the war was finally over, I must have been, 10 or 11 or something like that. We came up with pots and pans to celebrate and bang on them because it was all fenced around.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't realize that, some of those houses up there, I think there's also been some burning of the houses, but they used to be, army
Right.
stationed up there. I don't think they ever saw anything, but a little bit of history in there. But back in those days, I didn't know it, but if you flush the toilet, it went out a pipe into the ocean. And I can remember walking along the shoreline and seeing this pipe and toilet paper and what else.
Whoa.
Wow.
But that's what a lot of people did.
Yeah, that's nuts.
And the ironic thing is that lobsters are attracted to those pipes.
Oh.
I don't know whether they put traps around there, but that was it. And for our garbage, we used to put it in the rowboat and row out and dump it in the ocean.
Oh my God.
For the birds to eat.
Wow. Was it
'Cause
a lot
there
of
was no
was it
place-
a lot of like plastic garbage or mostly
Well,
food
if
waste,
it were
or?
cans and bottles,
Yeah.
we did something almost as bad. There was a little kind of a cavity, an inlet behind us, and we would just dump them there. I often wondered if I should go back there and do some digging. And
Let's
see if
go
there-
right now.
Let's
Let's get
It's
it.
been too many years.
I guess the last question I'll ask is, where do you see conservation education in Phippsburg going? What are the next steps?
Well, we're putting out a booklet that is due, in the next week or so. Has a picture of mine on the front cover, if you get this.
Cool.
But, and I would be willing to share this with you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you.
This is a booklet that I wrote about Phippsburg. And, but I think there isn't enough interest in things like solar energy that I would like to see.
Mm-hmm.
To me, the town should put panels, if the building isn't, facing south, they should put them on the ground and promote that, and encourage people to get cars that don't use so much fossil fuel. I still have that old kind. But no, I think there is a definite movement, between the land trust and the conservation group, and but you could always get more people involved. But they're trying to advertise, the fact that we're vulnerable, and if we don't stay awake, things can happen and we're unprepared. These are, part of my memories, and I think Phippsburg is very vulnerable, and people are working to assure that the shoreline is protected.
A special thanks again to Ronnie for her incredible generosity and allowing us into her kitchen painted full with a mural of Phippsburg and into her shed stocked full with a long-lived collection of animal bones. She let us into her inner circle. I don't mean to wax poetic. Actually, just kidding. That's most of my identity. But it was stunning to listen intimately to a being with so much more lived experience than either of us. Ronnie embodies Phippsburg. In this way, she humanizes place and she humanizes nature. After speaking with her, every wave of ocean was more accessible. Every ripple of radical thought or new emotion was more welcome, and I felt more ready to grapple with the uncertain future of our climate, as well as with my role in this web of existence. I take you now to a final meditation. Start by closing your eyes. Breathe in for 7 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Breathe out for 7 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Once more, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. As you continue to breathe steadily, think of a time when you felt completely comfortable and included in your inner circle. Remember what it was like to participate and to know you were understood. As you breathe in, feel heard and held. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And as you breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Know yourself as natural. Know yourself as beautiful, unpredictable, and wild. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Know yourself as vulnerable and dynamic. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Take one more breath in and live in your vast power. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Remember yourself as universal. Know you are made of stars and starving hearts, of oceans and of mountains. Know you are everything, and let this be good. Let this be a gift. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and focus all of your energy. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and radiate all of your love and creativity. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and ripple out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Nature, the most recent significant nature memory. Phew. Well, I love pink lady slippers, and I went out looking for them because there's a wildflower walk on Saturday here.
Oh, wow.
Are you here Saturday?
I might be. I'm
Yeah.
not sure. I don't think our class will be.
It's at Center Pond and the Center Pond Trail. Land Trust is a wonderful group here.
Mm-hmm.
They really do so much. But anyway, I was just counting all the different kinds of wildflowers that were emerging, but I only found pink lady slippers about that tall.
Mm-hmm.
They're more of a June flower. But in the same area last year, I counted 90 on a short trail. And it's all under pines, and there's some hemlock in there.